These three gentlemen take mental well-being seriously, but are not serious. They'd rather swear and make irreverent jokes. Now that you know, the healing may commence. Welcome to We're Probably Not Okay, the podcast that has problems with the audio every time before we start. I'm David Musgrave, the man pissed at my audio and also kissed by all angels. And with me, as always, is, let's see if he remembers, we've been doing this week after week.
Your very best friend,
Damn it!
Ryan Brown.
No!
You pointed right at me.
Yeah, you were pointing
right at me.
You guys are just doing this on purpose now.
No, you legit were pointing at me. Next time I'm going to take a picture of my screen and be like, look.
Yeah, well, no, I know. We've established that you, like, for example, Brandon, point at Ryan right now. Like, how you see it.
am.
What? He's above you now?
Ryan is above me. You are below me. You're the basement boy. Ryan is above me.
He's above you?
Yes.
We're going to have to look at your monitor sometime. This is all messed up.
It's all crazy.
Brandon's right here, and David's right here.
All right, this is the podcast where we talk about where we are on the screen. It's really good for the audio version.
We're doing a good job.
And with me, as always, is whoever this is.
That's your very best friend, Ryan Brown.
And I'm Brandon Full Shepherd of the Forest.
No, that's David.
All right, gentlemen, we've got an interesting episode tonight. We're going to play us a little game. But before that, I'm going to ask you to give me your mental hellness check-in. Starting with Ryan, how you doing?
I thought you were going to ask for my will. And I was like, joke's on you. I don't have anything worth passing on to anybody else. So
I'll take that hiking trail sign behind you.
Yeah, okay.
And
fine. You can have that. 2
out of the 3 of your cats. Your choice.
Which 2?
No, your choice.
Good. Good. All right. I could work with that. Hey guys. I'm okay, I guess. My as previously reported, I quit my old stressful job and got a new stressful job. Actually, I don't know. It's not that. It doesn't seem that stressful. My doctor also put me on some new anxiety medication, which has been cool so far. I realized I sounded sarcastic when I said that, but
it did.
No. Seriously though, it seems to be helping. I haven't had any like random "is this it" chest pains since I started it, so
hey,
that's good.
That is good.
Yeah, and like I said, I quit my old job. I got another job working in social services still, but for a nonprofit company, which is in a nonprofit company in a different state, working for a place in Pennsylvania rather than West Virginia. And it's absolutely wild how different it is. Like West Virginia's social services all seem to be very concerned about people having too much. Like, you get too much from us. We don't want you to become a socialist or something. Versus like Pennsylvania's social services seem to be with making sure everybody has enough. So it's interesting. It's different, but and working for a nonprofit, working for a company that's largely, well, exclusively focused on, doing good and stuff like that versus making money, which was my problem before, was eventually, well, I don't know. I'm sure I've talked about this on the show, but a source of infinite frustration was at some points the desire to make money and the desire to do what was best for the clients would be cross-purpose from each other, and they would always want you to be the one that's going to make them money. So, and that caused a lot of frustration, among other things, among also my boss being an absolute bitch. He was. I would
Yeah.
like to launch him into the sun. What's funny, I think I told you guys this. If I haven't told you guys this, and by you guys I mean the listeners, 'cause I know I've told you guys this. My boss was like weirdly obsessed with me and like found out what gym I go to, joined my gym and stuff like that. And I would avoid him, obviously. But one of my coworkers was like, well, now that he's not your boss anymore, you think he's going to try and like find what class you go to and go to that.
God.
And I was like, I would hope if I was him, I would hope that he never sees me again.
God,
period.
I kind of hope
Because
he does.
Because the next time he sees me, he's not going to be my boss anymore. He's just going to be some asshole who made my life miserable for months.
Yeah.
And that's probably not a good place to be.
No.
So, but my new place is I can't really talk about it as per usual for like, HIPAA reasons, but it's not working with the same client base. It's working with different groups of people, a different demographic. That's the word. So it's been, so far I've done nothing but like do online trainings and do like a couple of home visits, like observe home visits and stuff like that. So I don't know. It seems okay so far. My traumatized ass is always waiting for the other shoe to drop, though. Always waiting for like someone to come in and be like, "Hi, I'm the new boss, and I'm gonna hunt you for sport." So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I can tell you from somebody who recently went through this as well, that doesn't go away. Hopefully you will get to a place where I kind of am, though, where like every time I start to get that like, oh God, a meeting got put on my calendar, and it's like for an hour from now. Here we go. They're going to tell me I'm not doing good enough, or I'm just going to get fired.
They're going to put me down like a rabid dog.
Yeah, exactly. It happens enough to where it's like, oh, you have nice things to say about me, or oh, you want to give me more responsibility because you trust me, and it's like not annoying, and it's something I can do, and you value that I can do that. And once that happens like a few times, you're still going to go, oh God. But then you start to get to remind yourself like, well, it hasn't happened yet, and things are actually pretty good. And in the meantime, just not having that like constant stress along the way between those moments is invaluable. So I definitely hope that for you, if nothing else.
Yeah.
We're going through a lot of change at my company, like a lot of change, and it's going to be funky. But it's like they want me to be a part of the change, and they want my opinion, and they want my help with the change. And so that's like refreshing and different. And like I could easily say like I feel very secure on my team and what I do and what I can bring to the table. And that's just like something that, even though I was able to do good things before, it's like it was never enough, as I've said on the show before. And that feeling has diminished significantly. So hopefully we'll hear that from you in the coming months.
Well, yeah, I hope so. I was at my last job for 9 years, so I don't know. That's some real conditional programming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know that I'm ever, after 9 years. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be like,
no.
Hey, would you stop by my office and talk to me, and not think I'm going to be executed gangland style?
Yeah.
You know?
It's I have PTSD from like 3-4 jobs ago. So yeah, that don't go away, unfortunately. But I'm glad to hear in the meantime, if nothing else, during this training time, I'm sure it's like a little bit of a moment to breathe and observe. And so far it sounds like you're witnessing things that are an improvement over where you were last time.
I made friends with the I guess they do casual Fridays, and I was wearing a wrestling hoodie with the symbol of my favorite wrestler on the back, and the CEO was like, "Oh, you like CM Punk?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's the best in the world." And he was like, "I guess." And I was like, "What? Like, are you a Punk hater?" And it turned into this whole wrestling conversation. So I was like, "All right, you can hang, I guess."
Yeah, that's really cool. That is really cool. Good, man. Right on. What else?
Oh, I mean that's about it for me. That's my big news. Yeah.
Brando the Magnificent hit me with some of that hellness.
Hit me with my best shot.
Fire
Fire
away.
I've been pretty
Hit me with
good.
some Hellmans.
Hit me with some Hellmans.
Hit me with that Hellmans.
Please don't.
Hit me. Let's whip. Get that miracle whoop.
I'm a Dukes guy, so no thanks. Dukes people are.
Do you like?
Dude.
Is Duke's mayo? Like,
Dukes
real
is mayo. It's a mayo that's like mostly in the South. It's starting to like spread out into the rest of the nation, but mostly a Southern. And the people that like Dukes are super annoying about it, like I am, like I just was.
Oh really?
Oh,
Do you call it the D?
Yeah,
Give me
yeah.
some D.
Yeah.
Hit my sandwich with some D.
If it ain't the D, I don't want it on my sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Slap that D on my sandwich.
If it ain't the D, keep it away from my meat.
Right.
Shit. I've been good. I started to see a new therapist because I'm still seeing my old med doctor or my med therapist, but I'm seeing like a talkie therapist now as well. So one that I just go and sit and talk to for 45 minutes every week. He talked to me once and then was like, I want to see you once a week for a year.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's
I'm
right.
seeing-
I remember you saying that,
Yeah.
actually.
He must think you're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He's like, I really enjoyed our
he's
time
like-
together, so...
Yeah, you're such a cool dude. I want to see you once a
Yeah.
week for a year.
I've had two separate therapists tell me that they think I'm fascinating, and I can't imagine that's a good thing to hear from your therapist, right? Like,
It's
your
kinda
therapist
like-
is wow, what a fucking weirdo.
I will
Yeah,
be
it's kinda
writing
like
a
you're a
paper on
case
you.
study.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Also, I noticed, this is a totally random thought, that when you're watching TV and commercials where you've got like, you know, the bumbling dad and the mom who's smart and the kids are like, Mom, Dad, all of the parents are starting to look like us. Have you noticed that?
No. I
No,
haven't.
because
Yeah.
they're old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, keep an eye on it. I saw a commercial and the guy was like gray hair, but it was like swooped up, you know, like shaved on the sides and
Yeah, a lot of people wearing hoodies in commercials these days. It's suspicious.
Mm.
yeah.
No,
I also-
that was a hard realization when I found out that there, like last year, there was like a big, you know, marketing thing for the 40th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was like, that can't be right because they also came out in 1984, just like me.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about this on the podcast, but I watched a couple Pauly Shore movies,
Good.
and I just want to say Pauly Shore is awful
Mm-hmm.
in every way as an actor. I didn't watch Son-in-Law.
A Goofy movie.
Even in a Goofy movie, he's like a Goofy movie's great, but even in a Goofy movie, he's just like I watched Encino Man and I watched Biodome, and they're both just.
Those are
Do you guys have any strong opinions on Pauly Shore?
I do say you need to watch In the Army Now because that's probably his best performance. It's still awful, but probably his best like character performance.
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever seen a whole Pauly Shore movie, aside from a Goofy movie, and he's not really in that much as.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a
in
starring
other
role in
films.
that.
He does have
I'm
an
trying to
annoying
think,
voice, like as usual.
I don't know that I've seen any Pauly Shore movies.
Also, I read that part of the reason why he became so popular is because his mom owned like one of the premier comedy clubs in the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there were a lot of like comedians that came through and he kind of got a start at this comedy club.
So nepotism.
And then because of the connections, yeah, nepotism.
Awesome.
Hey, is he still alive?
I believe so.
Yeah. He did a movie. I went down a rabbit hole on Pauly Shore after I watched a couple movies. Like angrily, like who the fuck does he think he is?
Why? What got you started
And,
on watching Pauly Shore movies, if I may ask?
I have Pluto TV. If you're familiar with it, it's like a free TV program, and they had a comedy channel on there, and the comedy channel was playing Pauly Shore movies for
Okay.
like days.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
I happened to see it and was like, you know what? I watched Encino Man first because I had fond memories of it, and Brendan Fraser's still great in that.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, he's still great in general.
And then Biodome was on a little bit later, and I started to watch that. I actually paused it like 3/4 of the way through and listened to a podcast about bad movies reviewing Biodome because I didn't even want to finish it.
Here's the thing. I would sit down and watch either of those movies solely for nostalgic reasons. Like, it would definitely be like a cozy thing for me. But yeah, neither of them are terribly great movies in their own rights. Like you said, Brendan Fraser's great. But Biodome in particular, out of those two, pretty terrible movie. But I would definitely still get some level of enjoyment out of it just because it would take me back to that time, I guess, if anything.
You would think so until you watch these characters in action, and then.
But I think I've seen both of them recently. Didn't we watch
really?
Biodome together? No. Well, then I haven't seen it in the last 4 years, at least 4 or 5 years.
He'll just randomly say "go tribal," and then they'll start doing like karate chops with their hands and dancing.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah, it's an awful movie. I'm not saying it's not. And I'm sure there are moments when I would definitely be like, ugh, this is awkward and didn't age well. Because yeah, but still, I think I could. It'd have to be like a day. It'd have to be a day where like my internet went out and somebody was like, "Here's a DVD version of it, and this is all you can really watch." But have
all you can watch today is Pauly Shore movie.
But have some popcorn and just buckle up. And in the right setting, I think I could handle it.
Your new name is the man kissed by all Pauly Shores.
No,
because you love him.
I don't want that.
You love him.
I wish he was my dad.
But that's it for me. How have you been, David?
I've been good. I've been good. Have I been good? I went through a funk. I'm not gonna lie. I had this thing where like I definitely was just like, I'm just grumpy now. That's it. I'm just grumpy. Like nothing's wrong. And good things are happening around me, but I can't feel them and I can't participate in them. It took me a good couple of days to break out of it. I tried not to be super shitty, but when you're in that mode, it's kind of hard not to be super shitty. So I just had to waller in it for a couple of days and then I broke out of it. And, but a weird thing happened during that time. I tried to for some reason I had to evaluate everything in my life and set different expectations and almost wanted to try to have a different way of thinking. But as I started coming out of it, I realized I was just having some kind of mental episode and none of that really meant anything. So that kind of sucked. But I'm good on the other side of it. And it was really just a couple of days. So a blip in the system, so to speak. And
that's awesome, man. It sounds like you have some good coping mechanisms. I
guess. I mean, I do think it's a testament to where I am in life that I was able to just recognize that it was I'm just going to be grumpy right now. And I'm trying not to be, but I just am. And then on the other side of it, even after having an internal conversation with myself for 3 days straight, realizing that, okay, that was just me getting through it type of a thing. And it doesn't necessarily need to change my life or my way of thinking.
Did you have any particular reason for the grump, or did it just come on kind of on its own accord?
There were things that I was grumpy about, but I do not think they were the reason for the grump. I think they were a side effect of the grump. So
gotcha.
I've been a little down on, feeling like I need to be further in life, as I've said, with some of my goals. Looking into some of those goals, it's going to be a lot harder than I realized. Not a lot harder, but a little bit harder than I realized. And I started realizing that finding a job that's going to let me do what I need to do is going to be difficult. So I'm really going to try to see if this job will let me do what I need to do with it, so I don't have to change jobs. And that's been kind of depressing, and it's kind of kept me from actually trying, which I need to really start trying. And I feel motivated again on the other side of this grump to do so. It's just getting the ball rolling. So But other than that, I mean, like really, life is great. Again, best job I've ever had. Like best wife I've ever had out of the three. This one, she might be a keeper, guys. Just telling you.
Also, how good is MTG Forge?
Oh my God! Is this the podcast now? Because I will talk about it for the rest of the night.
I started playing it.
Hold
We
it
can
for
talk
gray.
about it in Gray Matter Munchies.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Hold it for gray
You
matter
guys can
munchies.
talk about it. I'm just gonna lay down for a minute. You guys can go.
Ryan, we can get you on this too. It's like digital cardboard crack, buddy. We can get you on it. But no, we will talk about it a little bit later. In the meantime, I've got a little. I want to be like Brandon. You know what I'm saying? When I grow up. So.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not a good choice.
You're a cool guy, Brandon.
You are a cool guy.
I'm a cool guy. I'm not a happy guy, though.
You guys may have heard this quote
All right,
before.
that's fair.
Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure you are not, in fact, surrounded by arseholes. That was Sigmund Freud who said that one. May or may not have anything to do with the game we're about to play. But that is a game of 3 questions. Now, I sent you guys this in advance because I've asked you, well, it's right in the question. I'll just jump right in and ask the first of the 3 that we're going to go through. Again, these can be brief, but they need to be deep answers. What is your favorite color? And give me 3 deep reasons why. We'll start with our very best friend, Ryan Brown. Ryan, what is your favorite color?
Well, okay, so I know I have a couple answers to this here. So most of my life, I would say my favorite color was probably green. And I remember very clearly as a child when that became a realization for me. When I was little, I had every single figure in the DC Superpowers line of action figures, except for Green Lantern. That was the only one I didn't have, and there's this whole ass story about that too, which I don't need to go into. But I would just sit and stare at the back of because it's really not the case anymore. But back when I was little. The action figure package would have on the back like all the figures in the line, so you could see which ones you could get. They don't really do that anymore, which is bullshit. But I would sit there and just stare and just be like, "That's the only one I don't have," and just sit there and stare at them to the point where, like, I don't know, at some point, like the color of green that was present, like on his uniform and whatnot, was like became like a soothing thing for me personally. And I don't necessarily think that it's my, I don't know if favorite's the right word, but there's some kind of connection there. Now I do feel like for me personally, I have a larger, deeper connection with the color red, because it's I don't know, there's a certain, I don't know, it definitely makes me feel something. Like it definitely makes me feel like strong, powerful, dynamic. I don't know, whatever. But like I have a lot of, like I mostly wear black, but when I wear work clothes, I usually am wearing like a buffalo plaid flannel. So like I have a lot of red things that accent my otherwise dark. I always wear red tennis shoes. My mouse is red. Like my computer, you can't show you that. My computer is red. It's just
black and red is a good color combo too.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Yeah. Anarchism.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my long-winded answer as to that question.
Okay. So it is a good answer. That's exactly the type of stuff I'm looking for there. Brandon, what is your favorite color? And give me 3 deep reasons why.
I know why. I know your favorite color. But go ahead.
What's my favorite color? Let's see if you know it.
You need to. It's purple.
It's not. My favorite color is blue.
When we were kids, purple was your favorite color. You
It was
bastard.
pink for a while too, but as I've grown, I've decided
Your lightsaber was purple.
A more muted blue. I appreciate, and the reason I like blue is it reminds me of the ocean, and it reminds me of swimming, pools. I have very fond memories of growing up at my grandparents' house and swimming in their pool. And the color blue, they had their pool was lit. So it had a, not lit as in the cool way, but lit as in there was a light.
It was.
The pool was lit.
Not like a young person.
Yeah, dog.
It had a light at the bottom of it. And at night they would turn the light on and the color blue was beautiful. And it just, I have a lot of fond memories of that color for that reason.
I swam in that pool.
Yeah. A lot of people growing up with me swam in that pool at least a few times.
Right on.
So there reminds me of the color of water and the nostalgia therein.
Okay. Sounds good. And the second color is second color. I guess maybe I should answer this too. I did not actually put thought into this. I was just going to let you guys do it. But I suppose it's only fair that I do as well. My favorite color is also blue. I know. But I also really like...
You guys should kiss.
Okay.
You're like, I don't hate it.
Brandon?
Well,
let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, if Ryan says it. Ryan says.
If only you weren't...
Actionable advice.
300 some miles away. So both blue and green are up there for me. Similar reasons, I think. Blue to me is definitely very calming. I find similar the sky. Like I like looking at the sky quite a bit, and there are certain times a day where and the way that certain cloud patterns go across the sky just really fascinate me, and I could stare at it. So I find myself sometimes when I'm driving and there's just a big wide open space and like those clouds are just doing something really cool. I'm just like, whoa. I really like that quite a bit. And similar thing with green is I love nature. I love going on hikes. I love being outside. When I was a kid, I would spend more time in the woods than anything else. I loved video games, and I was definitely one of those kids that would sit down in front of a video game for hours as well, but I never had a problem getting up and going outside and just going and spending time in the woods and nature. So I think it's similar, the sky, trees, plants, water, all of that kind of stuff, I think is where my connection really kind of lies as well. All right. So then the next question is, what is your favorite animal? And give me 3 deep reasons why. Does Brandon need to go first here, Ryan? That was a big...
I can.
You can go first. Yeah, it's okay.
Show me dolphin. I love dolphins. It's my favorite animal. 3 reasons. They're smart.
Hold on. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
Dolphin. Okay. And why? They're smart?
Because they're smart. They're one of the smartest animals. Close to on par with humans, although I know we found recently that crustaceans are pretty smart too.
Octopi.
And octopi are super smart. Yeah, so I enjoy that. As I mentioned, I like the water, so I appreciate that dolphins can fucking rocket through the water. They're one of the fastest creatures. And 3, they can kill sharks, which means that they're ballsy.
That's true.
That is true.
Bottlenose dolphins.
Documentary about that guy that fucking falls in love with an octopus.
Oh yeah.
No.
You saw that, David?
Yeah, it's called The Boys.
Okay, so halfway through it, huh?
I didn't see it. I'm just kidding. I said it's called The Boys. I have heard of it. Right? Yes, I have heard of it.
Yeah, like at first it's like this like aquatic documentary, and it's about this guy, and he keeps coming back to like interact with this octopus, and then like a good halfway through the movie, the thought first enters, just sort of like drifts to the top of your mind. I think he's gonna fuck that octopus. Like at one point, he doesn't. Just for clarity's sake, he does not.
That we know of.
But you can't rule it out either.
Does he boop it ever? Does he ever like boop?
Oh yeah, I mean he like gets all up in like all fondling it and stuff like that. It's fucking. It's a weird ass movie.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch it.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
great
interruption.
Is he a marine biologist, or is he just a dude who comes to fondle the octopus?
He's just like I think he's a photographer or something. He's some kind of something where he like goes underwater to take pictures.
And he's like, "Yeah, baby,
like nature.
The camera loves you."
Nature documentary.
Slip that beak out a little.
Weird.
That is weird. And what we're going to find out here in a minute is that Ryan's favorite animal is the octopus.
Oh, fuck no, man.
His favorite animal is photographer.
No, I'm not a fan of octopuses. I'm definitely. I never really had like a favorite animal when I was younger, when I was growing up. Like, I had animals that I specifically didn't like. Like, I'm not a fan of orcas. I mean, I think they're cool, and I align with them politically. But they were very scary to me. And then I listened to this documentary podcast about like the fucking humans they've murdered, and they don't just fucking like bite a human. They fuck up people.
They'll like sometimes they'll like just hold down their trainers and just drown them.
Yeah, or they'll like bite. They'll bite a dude's balls off. I saw that one time. It was fuck wild. We should leave them alone. We should not have them. We should not have them in our theme parks.
Any creature that can bite your balls off, we should just leave alone.
I think that's sage advice, honestly.
I align with them politically. They want to sink yachts. That's cool. I want to sink yachts too. I can get behind that. But I will leave that to you guys. I'm not going to interfere with your business. Stay over there.
Leave the ball biting to the experts, is what I always say.
Yeah, I similarly do not care for gorillas. Frankly.
Okay.
I just, for some reason, I find them distrustworthy. No, I'm just no. But honestly, like I've always been, like I think for me, cats are probably the animal that likes me the most. And that counts for something for me personally. Because, like, my entire life, my entire adult life, cats have always been, like, drawn to me. Like, anytime I go to a place and there's a cat will instantly be like, hey, what's that guy's deal? We'll go check him out. I think they regard my, like, mysterious and reserved demeanor, and they're like, I can vibe with you think. And so, I think cats tend to be, I don't know, drawn to me to a degree, and I appreciate that. So, on that level, I suppose I consider them probably perhaps my favorite animal. I'm trying to think if there's any other exceptions.
What about big cats?
Big cats is in like tigers and lions and stuff?
Yeah.
I've never met any, so I couldn't say.
That's fair.
But
I meant, do you like them? Yeah, not a favorite.
I like them okay. I don't dislike them. When I watched Tiger King, I got very mad at how treated so poorly.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Makes
I would
sense.
feel that way about dolphins too. So
Makes sense.
That's fair.
I would have to say that I can't narrow down a favorite either, but I think it's between a hawk and a wolf. And that's because I was a Native American in a past life, I'm pretty sure. No, that does sound like something that would be on like a really cheesy sweatshirt though.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of the cheesy sweatshirt thing, though. I think it's kind of, even though that was a joke, is kind of part of the nature of it. Like, I think that both of them are kind of, well, obviously wolves hunt in packs and live in packs, but I also think of them as kind of like solitary. They're very like nature ass like animals. You know what I mean? Like they're out there doing their thing out in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, you have the term lone wolf, so there's
That's
got to
true.
be some truth to that somewhere.
That's true. But I just think the hawks, I think, are beautiful. I'm just like, whenever I see a hawk like up on a power line, I'm like, oh, look at that fucking thing. Or if you see one in flight, or like especially if they're like going and getting a mouse or something, I'm just like, damn, it's just a powerful, cool
Yeah,
creature.
hawks are awesome.
Hawks are probably my favorite if I had to say out of the two, but wolves, for some reason, I've always, and even to the point where like my daughter, when she was starting to learn about animals and stuff, at first we don't really do this anymore, but we would howl like wolves. I'm like, what does a kitty say? Meow. What is it? Whatever. And when we get to what does a wolf say? Woo, and then we would just howl for a little bit, because wolves are cool.
Did you ever play Samurai Showdown?
Yes.
Super Nintendo fighting game?
Yes.
There was a guy that had a wolf and a hawk
Damn.
as his two, like, he would do a wolf attack and then he would do a hawk attack.
I remember that. Yeah, that guy's cool.
Maybe you're a samurai.
Maybe I'm a samurai. It could be.
I need to amend my answer. Actually.
Okay.
My favorite animal is the coyote.
Okay.
I just thought of that. The entire time I was like, I know there's one, but yeah, there is. That's because for a lot of reasons, actually. There was a are you guys? I know I talk about Grant Morrison all the time, but Grant Morrison in the '80s wrote a comic book series called Animal Man, and there was a one shot, like a self-contained, like one and done story within his Animal Man run that was called The Coyote Gospel, and it really fucked me up. And similarly, like I like the in a lot of cultures, like the coyote is symbolic of mischief and being like long suffering and someone that endures things. And honestly, ironically, I feel like you can kind of see that in like the most famous representation in our culture of the coyote is, of course, Wile E. Coyote from Looney Tunes, and that motherfucker's long suffering as hell. So yeah, that's my answer. I changed it. It's that one.
Okay.
Also, I want to amend my answer too. I'm going to stick with dolphins, but I want to add that they are one of the only animals that's rideable. One of the only sea creatures that's rideable. So.
Okay.
Really? Wait, hold on. Really? Do we know that for sure? Have humans ridden dolphins?
Oh yeah.
Ridden dolphins? Yeah, you can like swim with dolphins and grab
them on the dorsal fin
and
and
hang on to them and like woo.
And they'll let you do that?
Yeah.
If they're trained to.
Huh.
No, sometimes even wild dolphins do that.
Fuck yes.
Brandon, I hate to be that guy, but I feel like I have to bring it up.
I know what you're going to bring up, I think.
Do you
about
want to address
dolphin
that?
sexual proclivities?
Well, I was specifically talking about that marine biologist that...
Oh, that gave the dolphin acid and then jerked it off.
Yes.
That one.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like dolphins to that degree.
You don't like them, like, you're not...
I don't like them like them.
If you like them so much.
Why did you give them acid and jerk them off?
I listened to like an episode of Radio Lab, which was like a science podcast about that. Because like I had never heard of that before. And then as I'm like listening to this story progress, and I'm like, and then it's like hard stop, and then and it's like, what? That's real? That's a real thing that
she was trying to learn how to like speak to the dolphin, right? Wasn't that her whole thing? And then she kind of fell in love with this sorta.
Yeah, they were trying to teach it how to communicate with humans, and more or less, yeah, she kind of fell in love with it, and she would like live in its enclosure with it. His name was Peter, and she like lived in its enclosure with it, and would tug him off.
And in the end, who taught who?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems to me like the dolphin kind of did effectively learn to communicate with humans.
I mean, he was getting drugs and treats. I mean,
yeah, he was getting acid in a squeezer. Like what?
Dolphins.
That sounds like a great weekend.
Dolphins in captivity will take the fish that they're fed and put them on the side of the pool to draw seagulls, and then they'll eat the seagulls.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I might have to change my answer.
Dolphins are fucking crazy. Anyway, I'm done. Dolphin talk is
All
done.
right. Dolphin. This episode is not about dolphins only. So let's ask the next question, which is, what is your favorite body of water? And again, this can be anything. The examples were like jacuzzi, bird baths, puddle, stream,
So not
ocean.
not like ocean.
Not just no.
Yes.
It could also be like rain, snow, like any form of water. What's your favorite body or form of water? And what are 3 deep reasons why? And Brandon's gonna say any water a dolphin's in. Am I right, guy?
Now, I'm torn. I have 2 answers.
All right.
I'm either between the form of water as ice or Lake Michigan.
Yeah, I love it.
Specifically Lake Michigan, huh?
Specifically
That's
Lake
cool.
Michigan, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So,
Why?
ice, because I use ice a lot in my drinks. I appreciate ice. I chew on ice a lot. I've been accused by girlfriends of having pica, which I don't believe I have because I don't chew on like rocks and shit. I just like chewing on ice.
Yeah, ice is not pica.
Yeah.
Yeah, chewing on ice is a normal thing.
Pica
Like,
is
if you have-
eating
if you have
things that are
pica, you're
not
like-
edible. And
yeah,
ice
you're
is
like
edible.
Eating pencils like they're pretzel sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Lake Michigan, because for a very short amount of time I lived in Milwaukee, and where I lived was right on the edge of Lake Michigan, and I would walk there all the time
You lived in Milwaukee?
for like
Yeah.
4 months. Yeah.
Why don't I know this?
I remember that.
I don't talk about it a whole lot because it wasn't a great time for me.
Okay.
It was
But,
when you were like what, like 19 or 20?
Yeah, I was 20.
I did not know that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I have fond memories of walking to Lake Michigan, and I would go because I was kind of broke when I lived there because, I'm 19, 20 years old. So I would go to Lake Michigan and walk along the beach looking for like dropped rings and shit to pawn. I never found anything, unfortunately, but yeah. I have good memories of looking out on Lake Michigan, and it's almost like the ocean because you don't see an end to it. It's not like looking across the Ohio River, you're looking out at just endless water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
And there's freshwater dolphins.
Is that true?
No.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so, but I do not know enough about marine biology to be sure.
Yeah, don't doubt my dolphin facts.
That sounds like something.
It
that
almost
could be
sounds
true.
like something that could be true. I agree. Almost.
I believe there are dolphins that can exist in freshwater, like where
Oh, yeah.
freshwater meets saltwater.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, okay.
Just not Lake Michigan. Ryan, have you, during this time, been able to think of a body or form of water that you like the most?
I am a staunch believer that humans should not go in the ocean. Like going to do not go into like the ocean as in like submarines, like 20,000 leagues under the sea. Don't go there. We're not supposed to be there. There are fucking monsters there, like actual honest to God monsters, and we shouldn't go there. Like the last time someone went down there was in a submarine and it exploded because they were a fucking millionaire or billionaire, and that's fine. That's fine, obviously. But normal working class people, let's not go in the ocean. Let's not go into deep parts of the ocean where like the fucking Cthulhu's live. But I love the beach. I have a particularly happy memory of being like in my late 20s and going to the beach with some people that are sadly no longer in my life, and it just being a particularly peaceful time for me in a life that is filled with a lot of non-peaceful times, and just like the calmness and the stillness and the peacefulness of like that point in my life, and the fact that it was centered around like going to Virginia Beach with some people was, I don't know, it's sort of like forever tied that particular sense of tranquility to going to the beach. So
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't have a really good answer for this, but I think I'm going to say... oops, hold on one second. I messed something up. Let me fix it. Oh, no, I didn't. I think I'm going to say rain. Because to me, I love going outside. I love being in nature. But especially when I was a kid, I actually really didn't mind being out in the rain. I found that to be kind of relaxing, and the entire world changes. It feels like it slows down, and it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
And it's got a completely different vibe to it. Rain can be scary, when it's really intense. Actually, I don't know if I've ever told this story on the podcast or if I've even told you guys, but this one time I was caught in the rain. My friend Brent, I don't know if, I was friends with Brent, like when I knew you guys in high school and stuff. But I don't think your paths ever crossed with him. Brent Cook. But when we were younger, we couldn't drive yet. So Brent's mom, was going to spend the night at his house. So we're going to go down to Marietta and just walk around and do some stuff. And so we went down to Marietta and we start walking around and just messing around, having a good time. And we get over near the college, and all of a sudden the sky turned black. Like, I'm talking black. It was the middle of the day, and it turned like you would have thought it was midnight. It was out of nowhere. It just starts raining so hard, and the wind, we're just like drenched instantly, and the wind is just pushing us. Like, we could not stop at times. So we had to kind of like try to control where we're running to and try to get to a building. And you remember where the movies used to be? Like on that corner?
Yeah.
And like across the street, there was like a gas station. So the wind pushes us into the road, and there's like cars and stuff, obviously, and the cars can't see or anything. Luckily, I think most people were kind of stopping, and there's just the road had turned into a river of water. And so we're like up to our like knees in water being pushed across the street, and we get pushed like kind of towards the gas station, and we go up and we're like knocking on the gas station door. It's completely dark, so all the power's out, and all we hear is this like baby crying, and no one's coming to answer the door. And we're like, it's very spooky. And so then we like make it over to the movies, and I go to like knock on the front door, and my hand just goes straight through. The front door had been blasted out, and we then realized there's glass all over the floor. But when you would go in the front door, and then there was two different doors. So we kind of like climbed through the bar, and the other door was locked, but the manager came and unlocked the door and let us in. And there's just like all these refugees, like in the, like some of them wet, some of them were obviously in the store, and they're all just looking out the window like it's the end of the world and all talking like excited and stuff.
Damn.
And then the storm passes. Well, later on, we found out that a couple blocks over from where we were when we were at the college, a tornado had set down, and like people said they saw cars lifted off the ground like a couple blocks from where we were. So you imagine being in that, being like tossed around like rag dolls. It was no wonder. And that it's funny that the movies manager actually drove us back to Brent's house, which is really weird and creepy if you think about it in modern times. But and I just remember driving home, there's just trees down everywhere. And he's like, guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get you all the way to this guy's house or whatever. But he did, because the phones like were out and stuff too. We couldn't call his mom or something. I don't know. It was really weird. But finally we get back to his house, and his mom's like, oh my God, thank you, God, you're alive. Just crazy time. Yeah. So rain can be very scary, but that's not really the association I have with it. I love storms. And we'll put a damper on a day if you want to go outside and do a lot of things, especially as an adult. It changes the world so much and just makes it so cozy and slow. And you can really just like use an excuse to just do something really comfortable. And especially if your power goes out, then you play board games and light candles and do fun things you wouldn't normally do. It makes you slow down in life, as well as the rest of the world. So yeah, if your power does go out, watch movies and stuff. Kind of. I don't like snow as much just because it's associated with cold, and at this point in my life, I don't care for the cold as much. I think snow is beautiful, and I love seeing a big blanket of snow. And yes, it does slow down the world quite a bit. But I also live in a place where it can't handle the snow. So even if there's like moderate, inclement weather, it kind of gets nasty. And I don't mind driving in that. I learned to drive in snow and ice and stuff like that, but everyone else here can't handle it. So it becomes more of a nuisance than like a good rainy day. So not quite the same, but I understand the coziness of snow as well. So that's my answer. So now that we have done that, I'm going to tell you why.
Are you doing a Mad Lib? Is that what this is?
Yes, exactly. I walked down the stairs to smell the dolphin. And he was extra horny because all the acid. This is a good story. No, I actually started reading an article on a website called kindtomind.org. And it was an article by Connie Millar, Millar, called A Game of Three Questions, Relational Psychology. Now, I'm not going to read all of this to you. It's not a super long article, but I just don't think that'd be very interesting. But she's talking about having a friend who, or no. She talks about coming across an author and spiritual influencer, Teal Swan, which that's a real name, who has a website and a vlog. And one of the things that she wrote about was having a friend who was studying relational psychology, and how there's this game that he did with her where he asked her those three questions. But the questions are actually not meant to get just the answers red, dolphin, rain, but actually to see how you answer the questions and if you answer the questions. Because that in and of itself, since humans have a correlation between thing A and thing B, that's how we approach relationships as well, right? Like between how we are friends and how the guy that took your money at the gas station, all of these things are affected by your correlations, and those types of things is the idea. So when you're asking and answering these questions, it's thought that the first question is to get the truth about how the self is seen by them. So basically your thoughts on yourself. The second one is, so that was the callers. Then the animal is the truth about what they are looking for in others. And then the last one being the truth about how they view their own sexuality. And yeah, we know what Brandon's looking for in others. Acid and jerk offs.
A squeezer.
A squeezer is pretty good. So one of the examples, let's see, does she give examples here? And then we'll talk about our answers. But I'll read this part. Actually, is it this part that I like? By analyzing either yourself whilst answering or observing other people's completing this task, you may pick up on patterns and behaviors, and this provides further perspective. For example, not being able to decide on 3 deep responses to what animal do I like suggests that perhaps you aren't sure what you're looking for in others. Likewise, if you're unforthcoming with deep reasons why green is your favorite color, this suggests that you don't like to be pinned down to one version of yourself. You perhaps on any given day see yourself differently dependent on mood, experience, so on and so forth. Those are some examples. One of the other examples was like if you pick blue because it's calming, that obviously says something that's what you try to be yourself, or that's what you're looking for in other people. If you pick a calm animal, and also like if you pick blue and then you pick dolphin, this was actually in the article, then that is, kind of what you're trying to be, a calm person surrounded by calm things. So that being said, now we get to do the fun part. Let's psychoanalyze each other. And this is to be fun, obviously. I'm not trying to get super serious about this at all. I just thought it'd be an interesting take on things.
Yeah.
But Ryan, you said your favorite color, which is, again, this is not very scientifically proven, I wouldn't think. How you view yourself. You said green, and I did notice something that I'll kind of start saying in a pattern of what you were talking about. You said green, but then
I said green was, but red is probably my favorite.
Correct. But what I thought was interesting is you said green was when you were a kid, but you then talked about something you didn't have. So it was almost like something you lacked in yourself. And so you would look to that color to find comfort. So, I don't know. We could get psychoanalytical about what that means. But then you also said red, because your connection to that is that it makes you feel strong and powerful. And you have a lot of red things that kind of accent your otherwise dark colors of black. So you obviously consider yourself a relatively dark person who seeks power in yourself or wants to make yourself powerful. Brandon, what are your takes on that as well?
I think that Ryan does seek to be powerful as far as like lifting weights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. I think that you value physical power a lot in yourself.
Yeah, I would say that's true, but I would also say that I don't value power for its own sake. Like I feel like the benefit, I feel like the purpose and strength of power is to be given away. To be used like for the benefit of the people around you, not to be like hoarded and lorded over people, So
I was going to say that I do think you seek it in a way that if you ever have to use it for justice, you can. So you wouldn't necessarily be easy to push around, or you could stand up for other people. I think that's true about you. I think that's fair. Brandon, you said blue, and you talked about fond memories of grandparents and that pool being beautifully lit at night and the ocean. So to me, it seems like your connection to that is nostalgic, of course, and calming. So it's almost like you are a person who looks backwards in life to find comfort and not necessarily forward. And the reason
I would say so.
And the reason I say that is because I'll jump into your dolphin one as well. Or no, actually, I'll hold my thought for later because that does not have to do with the dolphin. And then I'll say mine too, and then we'll give it to Ryan to see if he has any thoughts on our answers. I also said blue and green because of water and nature. Also being kind of a calming and connected to something bigger than myself and outside of myself. And that's kind of where I find my peace through my colors. Ryan, do you have a take on either of those? And do you think that they accurately depict who you think of us as in our own self-image?
Yeah, I think so to a degree. I think we're all three of us people who are putting it delicately. I think we're all three that struggle to some degree or another with anxiety, and not even like unjustly so. You know what I mean? I think we're people who have been through and experienced enough things, that it's colored our overall view of life in such a way that being anxious is a normal, natural, even tactically sound way of being. And so when we think about like the things we want or what the ideal life or what, comforts us, it's not necessarily like anything. It's not even necessarily anything like outside ourselves. It's, we want peace. We want, stillness. We want to be able to like be within ourselves and it not be like, a scary, distrustful experience. And I think that both of your colors being blue, I think that is part of it. And I think for me personally, for my color being red, it's less about being at peace, although I would love that, and more about being able to like protect and provide if necessary. You know what I mean? Because that's what I personally would like to have in response to like the anxiety and the trauma and the
I think that's spot on. I think
PTSD and
I think that represents us well. I do want to do Gray Matter Munchies here in a minute, so we'll go through the next one a little bit quicker. But Ryan, I thought it was interesting that you struggled to say a favorite animal. Again, you started talking about what you don't like as opposed to what you do like. And you mentioned politics and aligning with orcas, and talked about biting.
only politically.
Yeah, because then you talked about them biting dudes' balls off and killing people and sinking yachts.
You did say that.
And then you also
I'm pro sinking yachts.
right, which again kind of goes back to politics and social economics. Does not like gorillas. You talked about that too. You said you can't trust them, but that seemed like a joke. And then this is also interesting. You talked about how cats like you as opposed to you liking cats. You did eventually say that's probably your favorite, but you said they vibe with your mysterious nature and they're drawn to you. You did eventually come back around to coyotes, and it had a lot to do with the Grant Morrison one shot and kind of their nature of being able to withstand suffering for long terms. So I thought that was interesting. Again, we could get deep into that. But I think so if it's what you look in other people, it almost seems like maybe you don't know what you want in other people, but you definitely know what you don't want in other people. And a lot of that is probably driven by the way they think politically and socially and economically, and treat others. And then, the cats liking you. Think you also probably have that experience with other people a lot where they kind of vibe with you like, oh, Brian's so dark and mysterious. Even your old boss wanted to get some of that for some reason. We talked about that. I'll summarize the rest of this and then let you guys talk about it, but let's go quickly. Brandon, you said dolphins because you like to jerk off dolphins. That there's
You did say that. You guys all heard it.
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't remember that.
Because
we all do.
Because
we all do. Listeners, don't we?
Well,
they're smart, they're
guess it's
fast, they kill sharks, and they're rideable. So you're looking for rideability in other people. You're also looking for them to be strong and ballsy because they kill sharks.
Looking for a decent hog to just crank.
and you're also looking for smart people who are fast. And I said wolf or hawk because they're kind of loners out there. I do like that in other people that, I like sociability and the wolves and their packs, but they're very tight knit. So I like that for sure. And hawks are cool, and I like cool people, I guess. I don't know. Wrap up your thoughts on that real fast in a couple of sentences. Anything you heard in there that I didn't cover?
I think I like people who have usability. And I don't mean that in like a shallow way, so much as I think that I appreciate people who we can collaborate with,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
appreciate
actually
collaboration.
I was going to say you like people you can play with, and that's not like in the jerking off.
I know.
David, you pervert.
But not that,
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, you're not going to say
not jerk off a dog.
What are you gonna do? You're just gonna be like, no, I'm good.
I just want to be clear to our listeners now that I have not now nor will I ever jerk off a dolphin for free.
Okay. Definitely only for science, right?
Yeah. Or for the seashells, which are notoriously the money of dolphins.
I was gonna say that's their currency.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's something that you have always found valuable, even when we were kids. Like we would often play those kind of like like ad-libbing games where we would just be like, all of a sudden we're going to do a bit and we're just going to keep going with it forever.
That's fair.
You know? So, yeah.
That's fair.
I could definitely see that.
Brandon, thoughts on Ryan?
Not really. I mean, I think that you kind of summarized it as far as like the loner mentality goes. Long suffering, feeling as if you're,
frequently getting tricked by someone painting a tunnel on the side of a cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's.
But the thing is, that coyote is smarter than he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
He's smart enough to order things online, and
yeah,
that's true.
So,
and assemble
that's not nothing.
complex contraptions with basic instructions. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Body of water. Ryan, you said ocean, but once again, you started by talking about what you don't like, which I thought was interesting. You did that all 3 times.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You talked about what humans shouldn't do, which is go into the ocean because there are monsters and billionaires blow up in subs, even though you kind of like that.
I like that part, yeah.
Yeah. Normal people shouldn't go there, but you love the beach, and this is where it comes back around. And this is your sexuality we're talking about. So,
okay. I'm curious how this is going to go.
I mean, I don't really want to talk about it too much, I guess, because A, I don't think it really means much, and B, like, it's just weird. But you did talk about a peaceful and calm time in a very otherwise kind of rocky parts of your life, and that you associate the beach and the ocean and staring out at that with tranquility and peace. So you are a calm and gentle lover, is what I'm hearing. But you will also talk about...
I'm not going to answer that.
And you also will tell people what you don't like in bed, like right up before you tell them what you do like.
That is true.
And Brandon,
don't bring a dolphin.
No dolphins.
We've had that conversation, Brandon.
Brandon, you like ice in Lake Michigan. So you're into a lot of different stuff. Like you're open. You like to chew on ice. So you definitely have oral fixation.
I'd say so, yeah.
You lived in Milwaukee and walked around Lake Michigan. You were broke.
You know what that means.
Oh, yeah. You were broke. And you were...
Everybody knows people from Milwaukee. They get down.
You would look for drop treasure to pawn. And it's almost like an endless ocean looking out. So, you kind of, I don't know. Say about your sexuality what you will.
I would say the lovers I look for drop treasure.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Like discarded, like things that other people either didn't have value in enough to keep a hold of. So you kind of came in and found the value in them. That's kind of beautiful.
I would say so, yeah.
That's kind of beautiful.
I'm great, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're awesome.
I'm selfless.
and you'll do oral.
And I'll do oral.
That's true. We've established that.
That's the most stupid way to say that. Am I in 12?
I'll do oral.
Hey, say one thing about Brandon. Say he'll do oral.
He really slobs the knob, that Brandon.
We've done a lot of that New Yorker voice that we use when we're being extra stupid about sexual things. So that says a lot about this episode.
That is true, yeah.
David likes the rain because it's cozy and it makes the world slow down and makes it a completely different and beautiful place. And,
so you're a slow lover.
I mean, I'm not going to get too personal, but I like to make magic moments, I like to not be aware of the rest of the world and slow down and be cozy and I mean that's not wrong. Now you know. I'm also
now we know that about you.
No, I'm also a gentle and kind and patient lover.
My kids
right, Kira?
Podcast, so they don't need to know anything about what I like.
All right, Connor. I'm sorry. Willow, I'm sorry.
They don't need to know anything about anything.
I don't think they need to know what Brandon and I like either.
Probably less weird.
Damn it. Connor's going to write another paper on this, isn't he?
He's going to write a weird paper about Brandon jerking off dolphins. Sorry.
I don't jerk off dolphins.
And then
I just appreciate them as a creature.
And then the man kissed by all angels went on and on about how kind and gentle and loving he is. It got real weird.
He's a delicate lover.
He likes to make magical moments, apparently, whatever that means. All right. All right. And on that note, let's sometimes I forget how I did this intro. Sometimes you get peckish, and I'm hungry for some brain juice. Right? That's how I did it. So it's gray matter munchies time. What has been sustaining your brains as of late, guys? Ryan.
So I've been watching on Amazon Prime. There's a show, kind of an overlooked gem. It's called Reacher. You guys heard of this show?
I have heard of Reacher.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Is it Jack Reacher?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But it's basically about like a wandering like autistic super detective who is also like a mountainous pile of muscles. And like basically there's 3 seasons, and like every season is him like just sort of wandering around, finding like a new place and being like, oh, there's a crime here. I guess I'll solve it. And,
is this the one with Jim from The Office?
No.
Because he's played Jack Reacher.
That's Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay, my mistake.
And there are some awesome fight scenes. Awesome fight scenes. Because they really translate his I don't even know what you would call it. Like, he has a very direct communicating style, and that also sort of translates it into his fighting style, which
that's cool.
Is really interesting. But also it's a good mystery show. It's like, and also it's not episodic, like the entire season is one mystery, and you have to like watch every episode. And if you look away for a minute, you look back up and you're like, oh, I missed the clock. But it's very good though. I enjoy it.
Damn it. I don't need more TV to watch right now, but I've wondered about that one, and now I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's good, yeah, because it's like super smart and like really well put together. But then and you'll be like having these, you'll have this like whole sequence like, oh, this bit right here, this is about like America's prison industrial complex. Anyway, here's a fucking amazing fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like all this.
Yeah. Right on. Cool. Brandon, if I can go next before both of us just talk about MTG Forge real quick.
Sure.
I've been watching lots of Korean stuff, as I've told you. We also started watching Twin Peaks. I'll do an episode on that alone sometime. That's some buck wild shit. I knew it was. I remember.
Have you never watched it before?
I have, but I've never like watched it all the way through. I would like back in the day when TV, you just watched an episode when it was on and it was not in order and all that kind of stuff. That's a buck wild way to watch Twin Peaks, but to watch it in order and actually as an adult, I remember it being weird, but I remember it being creepy. As an adult, it's just weird. And actually so there's a soap opera inside of the show. I forget what it's called. Do you remember what the soap opera inside of Twin Peaks is called? It's something that makes you think as the world turns. It's something very similar to that, but it's like its own thing. And you only see a little bit of it here and there, but the fact that that's there also, I think, informs the fact that David Lynch was trying to make a soap opera, because it is filmed and acted like a soap opera that is like also just buck wild and kind of like mysterious and supernatural in some ways.
So if I can ask before you go any further, how far into it are you?
So we are on season 2, episode 2, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know what happens in the story somewhat. And I know they also made another season like years and years later, and that gets even more buck wild, and I'm looking forward to that one. But what were you going to say?
But you're going to talk about calling your shot. Like, he called his shot like in season 1, where he's like, I'll see you in 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 25 years later, they made a season 3.
Which is buck wild as well.
But You talk about it being creepy, and there is definitely a weird sort of tension throughout the entire
Oh,
show where you're like, why is everybody being this
yeah,
way? Like
everyone's
and there's
weird. The
never an
town's
explanation.
weird. There's no explanation, and the music, obviously, the theme song is very
The music is
iconic.
very weirdly off-putting. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
always off-putting.
the only part that throughout the entire series, the only part that really scared me, and I didn't watch it till I was an adult. That really scared me was the one sequence where she's like laying in bed and she just looks up and like crouched behind her bed. You just see like the top of like
Yeah,
someone is
yeah,
like at the foot of her bed.
that's
That's
Bob, or
because I was like,
it's not Bob. It's the other guy that was with
it's not
Bob.
no, it's Bob. I
Oh,
was
is it?
not expecting to see a person there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not even that, not even a whole person, just
yeah.
a person, kind of like a bit of a person. Like
It's very
not
jarring.
even-
It's very jarring.
It
That
is.
yeah, especially since there's like nothing else like that up to that point. Like all of a sudden, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Up to that
okay,
point, it's just been kind of a quirky, weird show, and then all of a sudden
yeah,
there is a injection of genuine like uh, fear and anxiety.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Anxiety,
like,
anxiety
genuine
is
stakes.
the best way to describe it. It is an anxious, anxious show. Like even for how silly and goofy it is, just that unnerving, unsettling. If you watch 2 or 3 episodes in a row, which we have done, that music that just like there's like this like very monotone, like underlying, like just like anything could fucking happen at any moment in time. You're expecting
Mhm.
bad things to happen, and bad things do happen, but more often than not, it's just you're waiting for badness to happen, and ain't that life? But anyway, yeah, I know it gets much more buck wild, but we haven't got to the real weird shit yet. But yeah, anyway, I said I was going to talk about that quickly. I've also been watching Severance, which is really cool. It's about like separating your work self from your real life self, and it's done through like an actual process where your work self only lives your work life. So that person's basically like trapped at work every single day. The day starts over when they start working again, and it ends when they stop working. So it's just like working, and it's really creepy. And you don't really know what's going on. It'd be great to be that not working self, but yeah, it would suck to be the other one. So I'm interested to see where that's going. But let's talk about what you've been doing, Brandon. If there's anything you want to talk about before Magic the Gathering, we can. We're going long, but that's whatever.
Not really. I've been playing No Man's Sky still as usual. There was a new update that put out for it that like totally redid the graphics and added a bunch of shit to it. So I've been playing that, but mostly MTG Forge.
Hell yeah.
Besides that, I mean, been Forge.
Hell yeah. Forge is great. For those of you who don't know, it's basically you get to play. Well, I mean, there's lots of different modes where you can just play Magic the Gathering like you normally do against other people. But there's a mode called.
So it was made to test. Sorry, it was made to test out decks.
Yeah, exactly.
To upload decks to it and then run it against AI. But then they added an adventure mode.
Yeah, exactly. And is this like I used to have a program years and years and years ago where you could do that, where you could just upload it and you could play it online with other people and test it. And it was real
I think
janky.
it is, yeah.
It was real janky, like really, really janky.
Because this one is pretty janky still.
It is, but it's a lot better.
Yeah.
But the adventure mode adds like quests and a little bit of a storyline, and like you get cards and money and stuff by finishing quests, and then you can enter in drafts and like go through like an entire draft and get prizes and get the cards from your draft and stuff, and it's addicting. I like it because I will never ever play Magic the Gathering ever again. I will never buy Magic cards. I will never put together a deck. I've played with my stepson some, but that's because he had cards and was like, here, let's play. Sure.
Yeah.
But there's so much that has happened between when I played and now. So this is a way for me to be able to see all the sets and different abilities and just like get reacclimated with Magic the Gathering with zero cost or risk. And I've been absolutely freaking loving it. And one morning I stayed up way too late playing it, and it has distracted me from work as well, and I really got to stop that. But
what race did you pick for your character? Do you remember?
I'm boring. I'm a human male named Kivid.
What kind of deck does it start you with?
I started mono blue. I actually started blue white at first. but then went back and went mono blue because I wanted to build. I'm actually maybe gonna go back into a blue white and do kind of a my deck is artifacts, so I'm possibly gonna try to do like a blue white like artifact golem type of a deck.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've got some ideas. For it based on
I
the
started
cards.
with a blue-white deck as well, because I picked core as my race, because I think the core are interesting in Magic. But yeah, the deck is based around enchantments, like auras. Was that the same deck that you had, or
No.
when you had blue-white?
I almost feel like mine was rebels when I had blue white. It was like,
Oh man, there must be a huge amount of decks that it pulls from then, or something.
dude, there's like everything. I mean, there's like the Lord of the Rings and like Baldur's Gate and like.
Yeah, I saw one that was like one of the exclusive cards that Wizards released, like the artwork for it
Yep.
was like, it looked like who is it that has like Ratfink with the tongue hanging out and he's always driving? Which
Right.
musician is Ratfink?
I can't think of it. But I just know the name Ratfink, and that art style. Yeah.
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 It looked like that.
Yeah. There's a whole series. I mean, you'll get like Japanese cards, like Italian cards. You get like literally like almost everything is in there. All the promo stuff, like different countries promo stuff. I got a card that was written in Phyrexian. Like,
oh yeah.
So, and it's a really good card too. I forget what it's called, but it's a really good blue card. But anyway, so I'm totally digging it, and like it's a huge learning curve trying to get back in with all of the crazy stuff. Like, just so much crazy stuff, and even looking at some of the cards, to your point, like with the different borders, and like the mana cost is somewhere different, and the type of card is somewhere different, and like the text is like all woven throughout the cards. Sometimes it's like crazy. So it just even getting a card and looking at it, sometimes you have to like look at it for 5 minutes to even know what it is.
Yeah, even I've kept up with Magic pretty well, except for the last few sets. And even then, I look at cards sometimes and I'm like, what the fuck does this do? Why is it?
Yeah.
It does like 10 things.
I have definitely found myself Googling cards. Like, how do you use this card or ability?
Yeah.
So stupid. And it's a huge waste of time. And I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I'll go, but it's been a really good way for me just to kind of dip my toe back.
Have something. And it's good because it's something you can do on the side. Like I can have YouTube pulled up on another thing and still be able to do it. And I don't think we mentioned that this is free. The whole thing is free.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
But that's
so you can search MTG Forge and you'll find links to it. It's kind of weird to install it. You have to go through like a GitHub page.
Yeah.
Because it's probably, I don't think it's illegal. I think Wizards has sanctioned it to a certain degree.
It says it's released under a GNU general something standard. So there's something that allows them to do it, I think. I forget what exactly.
Okay.
There's verbiage on it, right? When you open it, it says published under GNU general, I don't know.
Newt usage.
Yeah, that's it. General new usage.
Yep.
But anyway, that's enough. That's enough. This episode's gone long. We nerded out pretty hard, and I saw Ryan's eyes just turn to glass like instantly when we started talking, and I saw his face light up with his monitor as he was Googling something else or doing something else. So I think we've tortured him enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
It's all right.
Sorry,
They
Ryan.
almost got me when they made that Fallout box.
Yeah,
Gathering cards.
I just found I'm such a dork. I just found a town that has the ability to draft the Fallout set, and I'm probably gonna.
Man,
I'm probably gonna go draft that like next time I play because I want to see what all that's about.
Yeah.
There's like Doctor Who cards. There's like crazy shit.
Yeah, there's Ghostbusters. There's Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild.
There's the Jurassic Park cards. That's the one that I want.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. And Ryan, you know what time it is. Give us that sweet wrap up. It's game time. Give us that sweet wrap up. It can be quick and easy. Doesn't have to be.
Well,
doesn't have to be dolphin related either.
Don't take acid and jerk off a dolphin. No, do that. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess
I'm so confused.
yeah, there's a lot mixed messages today. I don't know. I don't really think there's one coherent theme throughout this entire endeavor, but
That's a David Musgrave episode for you.
I feel like there's something to be learned from, pretty much. I think anything about yourself can be extrapolated into, something new, something interesting, something that maybe you didn't really know about yourself. So I don't know. Don't just dismiss anything about yourself as being useless knowledge. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
could be it.
Part of the reason I forgot to mention why I like blue is I'm a winter. I think we've talked about this before, where if you know anybody who's into makeup or fashion, ask them if they can tell you what season you are, because that denotes what colors are good to wear.
I think I'm also a winter because I have a lot of reddish tones, and so I'm not supposed to wear a lot of reds and oranges, which is what fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wear like dark or light blue. I'm like turquoise and stuff like that is what's supposed to look good on my skin.
Yeah, I've heard this as well.
So there you go.
Great way to end the episode. And on that note, thank you for, especially if you stuck all the way through the end of this episode, thank you for hanging out with us. And until next time, I've been David Musgrave, the man kissed by all angels. And with me, as always, is
your very best friend, Ryan Brown.
And I'm the shepherd of the forest, Brandon Full. And I did not jerk off a dolphin. I would not, ever. And we're probably not okay.
Methinks he doth protest too much.